Hey guys, welcome to the Not Bad Better podcast. We're your hosts, Luke and Luke.
On this podcast, we interview people much smarter than us and ask questions about how they've created a life that they love.
Follow along with us weekly as we learn about strategies that we can use to improve our own lives.
We hope this is beneficial. We aim for this to be applicable in your own life so that you can grow with us. Wow, what an intro.
Yes.
The enthusiasm that I just came in with then, oh my goodness, that was gusto.
Hamish and Andy would be proud if you're on there a gusto check.
You'd
be doing well.
Jack needs to learn. Okay, well, what an episode we had last week, eh? That was crazy.
It was good fun.
It was beautiful. We had Lukey's dad come in.
Didn't really vibe with the guy.
Didn't get along with him too well, but look, it was, yeah. To be honest, actually, it was a bit of a train wreck, but we got through it.
He did say, I had dinner with him last night, he was critical of himself.
Really? How so?
Not badly, but he said he reckons he could have answered questions more directly. And I said, nah, this show's about tangents.
I love tangents. That's like one of the most important parts of this.
I'm not keen on calculating them. As in having to do maths.
Why did it take me so long to work out what you were trying to say?
But the literary tangential conversations, happy with. So he's given himself one bit of criticism there.
Well, that's self-criticism.
He's a harsh man.
If I was going to give him any criticism, it would be that he criticized himself. So, Pete, if you're listening, stop being critical.
Of me, please.
Of me. Oh, I mean, of yourself.
So, we're just going to do what we learned.
Yeah, what did we learn?
A lot. I would say sitting down with your dad, probably expectation of learning something for me, less than sitting down with someone else.
Yep.
Which, I talk to dad every day.
Mm-hmm.
And, I get my bits of wisdom here and there. But I learnt a lot, actually, surprisingly, from the old man.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things.
I think more about, I don't think that we really had the discussion about how he started Reflect. We did, but kind of bits and pieces, and some of the subjects that he did in his MBA, and his diploma of accounting, I think.
I don't know if he touched on that either. Or maybe he did and
I think he did 1 year and then did the MBA. But some of the transition in there hadn't talked about a lot, and I thought that was really interesting because it's not like he had this clean break between teaching and then business of his own. There was a transition that was partly through uni and then partly through work that came from that.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty interesting because a lot of people stories that people tell about business building and going out on your own in work. Kind of like, oh, I've got this idea, I'm quitting my job. It's like, okay, how are you gonna
support yourself?
Keep it stable?
Yeah.
And I think Dad's a very rational man, so I think the stability focus for a lot of making sure, like he said, the bills were covered and all the basics were taken care of.
Food and fuel,
that's it. So I think that was a good testament to being entrepreneurial and being business focused, but making sure that there is a desired level of risk that you're hitting. Like if you could measure risk, like definitively, I think he probably hit the number that he wanted to in terms of how much risk he wants to take to balance both, getting the business to grow quickly, which you need to be somewhat volatile, but also having a family and having stability and not having something just come crashing down because you had some crazy idea.
Well, that's bringing us to the quote that we put up on our social media.
Don't have it on me.
I have it in my head
That's commitment.
with a few paraphrases and whatnot. But your dad described how he was an optimist, and I think by optimist you could kind of trace that towards entrepreneur. Generally, entrepreneurs are pretty optimistic, I guess you could say. They see a bad situation or a problem and they want to fix it. So I guess you could say that's a facet maybe of optimism. So let's just change that wording a bit. Your dad says he's an optimist / entrepreneur. And a lot of optimists can lose their house and their family, like he says. But that's where hard work comes in. That is a great quote. And yeah, that really drew it into me, I think. You got to put in the hard yards early. You got to be thinking about how you can push yourself a little bit early to reap the rewards later.
Yep.
And slow growth is really important. And your dad's story really shows that, I think.
Yeah, well, he's been doing it for a while now. I think we mentioned it. We might not have, but there's a couple of years in a row where Dad coined No Dad November, where he basically worked away on site.
I wonder where he got that metaphor from.
From, like, he'd fly out on Sunday, get home on Friday night.
Yep.
Come to footy and hockey on a Saturday with us, and then he'd fly out on Sunday.
Yep. I remember that time.
Yeah, which, like, sucks. But you also get through November as December, and Dad's worked for 24 of the 30 days in November, and you've got December where he just switches off because no one in a mining company wants to have their safety protocols updated with training sessions around Christmas. Like, it's not really
a good time.
So November's kind of the last time they get it in before the end of the year and everyone goes away. And then, I've always said this, people kind of say, oh, what do you think about Dad going away for work? It's like, when he comes home and he's got time that he's allocated to hang out with us or spend time with us, like, he just switches off from work completely. Like, if he's at home, he might work between 6 and 11 every morning doing admin and whatnot. And then if it's school holidays, he'll just say, do you want to go play golf for 4 hours? Yep. Do you want to go do this? So that balance, and, it's important to have balance, but it can be a high level of work and then a high level of family, which works out well.
That could have taught you something about getting up early and getting it done early.
Certainly could have taught me. Certainly has not taught me about getting up early and getting things done. The only time I'll get out of bed early is if you want to go to the gym.
Yeah, no, I think
otherwise it's 7 o'clock wake ups.
A really good early morning work session just sets your day up though, doesn't it? Because I did it yesterday, and when I say early morning, it wasn't really that early, was it? 8 a.m, but that's early for me at the moment. And just getting work done till like 1:30 or whenever it was that we went to the gym. And then we went to the gym. We just, sat back in the steam room for 2 hours.
Getting our money's worth.
Getting Luke's full $16.99 worth. Censor that one. No, I'm kidding.
You can know how much I pay for the gym.
There we go. Brief facts. There's going to be a fact page with Luke Smith, and under that it's going to say Luke pays $16.99 per week for his Fitness First membership.
Have you seen those videos where, like, big creators react to those pages that people just make up facts about them?
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny as.
My net worth is not 2 million, it's 200 million, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no. Yeah, it's really good to get that balance, and I think if your dad was getting up that early, getting stuff done till 11, that must have felt good to be able to sit back after 11 and just hang out with the kids.
He had these funny couple of this is probably good for business building, I guess we can put this under, or working for yourself. He had during lockdown had a bit of work online with a company with a company that had some sites in Peru. So their time zone lined up that he had to work between 3 a.m. and 11 a.m. every morning.
Whoa.
So he was living the life. He was working 8 hours online, and then from 11:30 till 3:30 or something, he'd just go play golf, have dinner at 5, and be in bed by 7 or something, and that was it. Pretty good setup.
Wow.
But I think that's what you've got to do. Like, he talked a bit when we interviewed him about figuring things out with COVID and how does that change things.
Yep.
And I think, no one, like, there's so much, so many other factors that come in with COVID. Like, heaps of businesses got killed with COVID. And sometimes you just can't help that. But Dad was lucky enough to be in a position where he could. And I think when you get given an opportunity in a hard situation, it's good to just take it and just make it work. Because if you asked him, is it ideal to be working between those hours or online rather than face to face, he would have said no. But yeah, I guess that's just being flexible in your business and being able to adapt to situations is very important, especially as a small business.
Yeah. No, that's true. I think this has inspired me in a way. I didn't know that we're sorry about the bump there in the cast. But this has kind of inspired me a little bit just talking about it. I didn't know we were going to go down the direction of Dad wakes up early and gets work done early, because we didn't talk about that really much at all on the podcast. But
Did we?
Oh, we might have.
We might not have.
Don't think we did. But I mean, if Pete Smith does it,
You should do it too.
I should have a go at it. Look, 3 a.m. to 11 a.m. sounds a little bit undesirable to me, but a good old wake up at, I've been saying it for weeks, haven't I? Waking up at 5 a.m. every morning would be a great idea, but I just can't bring myself to go to bed before 11:30. It's just finding that motivation to go to bed at like 8, 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Yeah.
The earliest I consistently woke up at was like 6:30 for work at 7 every day over holidays after school.
Yeah. Last year when we had school routines, I would be going to bed at disgusting hours and then waking up at disgusting hours. I'd be going to bed at like 1:30, waking up at 5:30.
And then hitting the gym.
And living off 4 hours sleep every single day.
Loading creatine into that system.
Mate, I just remember being tired all the time. But yeah. Anyway, that's something that could be a little challenge for me for the next week and 2 weeks.
Okay.
Before we come back here.
Get a little tracker going. Try
and track my sleep to get to 5 a.m. every morning. Just get that 2 hours in before work. Oh, that would be so beautiful.
Imagine.
Imagine.
More business stuff.
Yep.
Cash flow management.
Sorry to go on that tangent. I should have been more direct with my answer there. I apologize. I wasn't even answering to anyone. Okay, Dad.
So cash flow, I think we talked about that a bit, and Dad was talking about. I think that's just some level of control over knowing, like, you have to have control of that as much as possible in a business.
Yep. And in personal life as well.
True.
Because your dad, let's not forget, your dad was draining out of personal savings.
Yeah, to make sure.
Up. And if Pete's listening, thank you for that vulnerability there, Pete.
Oh,
I'm sure
the vulnerability house. Well, that's copyrighted probably.
I think our listeners probably benefited from that for sure. I did, definitely, hearing that. So thank you. But yeah, no, I think not separating those two too much. Thinking about both personal income as well as business income, remembering you need cash flow management for both of those.
Yeah, and you have to be able to take drawings at the end of the month to be able to
survive,
pay your bills.
Yeah.
And I think something that we both said, I don't think we talked about it on the podcast, but this was probably a reflection on Dad's story a bit, was settle for less in the short term for future gains.
Yeah.
That are much higher.
Yep.
I know that a lot of the time at home, when I was at home, there's a lot of conversations about delayed gratification.
Yeah.
Which is a good concept to kind of get your head around and work in accordance with.
Yeah. It's not something I'm very good at practicing, if I'm being honest.
Well, going to the gym is delayed gratification.
That's true. That's it. You see, if I translated everything out of that, my life would be so much better.
Well, I think in a way, like going to uni is in a sense delayed gratification because you're delaying your ability to earn or work in a place where you want to work.
Yeah.
Whereas you could go out and get a job as a PT, right? If you wanted to, you could do your courses. You could have done them during high school as a unit or two, and then done one over the summer, and you'd have your 3 or 4 certificates. You could go do that, but that's not what you actually want to do.
Yeah.
And so to actually do law, you have to delay being able to get there, by doing some of the hard work now.
That's true.
Not to say that every good job or thing is has a barrier of uni.
Yeah.
But if you want to be a site manager, or for Metricon, you have to do your 4 years apprenticeship. You have to be a manager under a site manager.
Yeah.
You have to be able to do all these things, these steps to get to what you actually want to get to in the long term. So I'd say you practice delayed gratification quite a bit.
Oh, thanks, Lukey. I will admit, I will confess a bit though. My course, I think, is a little less delayed in the way it sets out, which is one of the beauties of doing a law degree, is that you are working with the law every single day when you're doing it, and that's what I want to do ultimately. So I'm loving it.
That's good.
But I appreciate that. Thank you.
You do delay gratification well.
Oh, thanks.
Well, are you being gratified when you have a 95 kilo body of just pure muscle?
I'm not quite there yet, but
you'll get there.
95 kilos. I don't know if that would be healthy.
You'd look like Arnie, a short Arnie.
Oh, if you guys want to see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson on our podcast, come back in 6 years. No, okay.
Matt Davella hasn't achieved it yet.
But yeah,
last.
That's a really good point, Lukey.
Thanks. I'm learning to say thanks to your compliments instead of just giving you a compliment back.
That's good. It's something you tend to do.
Yeah. I don't like compliments. But
Take your encouragement.
Last thing, being a good teacher.
Yeah.
If you look at the way I've turned out, you might not believe that my father's a good teacher, but he is.
You're a guitar teacher, so I'm sure you're good at that.
Yeah.
Exactly. So.
The kids learn stuff. I'm just saying, he didn't raise a great child. It was more a joke. A joke about my personality.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I went over my head. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, that's all right. You're short. So that's actually pretty well played for me.
That was well done.
Comedy podcast. So being a good teacher, Dad is a good teacher. I'll give him that. He's done it his whole life.
Yeah.
And I think the stakes that he does it with now, are much higher.
Yeah.
But he started out, working on rafting camps and teaching people how to get down a river safely.
That's pretty high stakes.
Yeah, true, actually. Financial stakes are lower. Financial stakes are lower.
Financial stakes are lower.
Maybe that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But, like teaching skiing, teaching, business. What's this? Business management at school and things like that. That's teaching with low stakes.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Or lower stakes.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say he was just automatically born a good teacher. I think there's personality traits that you pick up as a child and learn.
Yeah.
That probably allow you to be predisposed to teaching at a higher level than other people, maybe. But I think it can all be learned. In terms of, it's about communicating a message effectively.
Yeah. I think some of it can be learned, but your dad's ability to connect with people is insane. Yeah. And that's not, I don't know if that's something that can be taught. Maybe it could be something that is developed, but
yeah. It's probably developed, yeah.
Like he talks about all the people he works with, and there's quite a disparity between some of the fellas that he'd probably be working with in the mine, from the underground, the mines, with senior executives of mining companies. Like, I assume that he can, I know from talking to him, he can connect with anyone, really. So that can't be taught, and that's important with his teaching.
Yeah. I think there's like a lot of listening skills there as well, though, which is part of it.
So basically, if you can't connect with someone, you can't teach. No, but
Yeah.
like, yeah,
No, it is about.
there is definitely some stuff we can learn from it for sure.
If you go back to like just think through the best teachers you've had at school or uni,
Yeah,
like they all actually connect with something that you actually resonate with.
yeah, and I think as the other thing is passion. Like even if you're not able to connect with somebody, if you can be passionate about a topic, and that might rub off on the people that are in front of you, which is your dad to a T. He gets really passionate about something, like skiing,
Golf. At the
golf.
minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Like I'll come home and ask him how his day was. And he'd say, "Oh yeah, played golf," and then go through all 18 holes, every shot.
Walks into our lounge room, has a suss of the club.
Yep.
Is this a composite? I don't know what he said. Something along those lines. I don't know.
That's got nothing to do with golf, but yeah.
I don't know what he said.
He asked if it was my uncle's golf club, and I said it was.
Oh, there you go. That's what the question was.
But yeah, so I think being a good teacher is just a good skill to have in life because at some point, you do have to. Oh, not in all lines of work, but you have to be able to communicate a message effectively in a lot of work.
And your dad's a great depiction of when you teach, you learn as well.
Yeah.
I think sometimes when your dad's working through things mentally, he's teaching them at the same time.
Yeah, well, that's what he said about being underground with teams at Glencore.
And being with people, and he's not necessarily teaching, he's working with them, yeah.
Yeah, and they're teaching him about what it's like to work underground and what you have to do, and he's talking about some strategies that could help that.
Yeah. Facts.
For real.
No cap.
Cool, that's it. That's what we've got.
Beautiful. Well, it was a really good episode. I suggest you go and check it out. We are going to try and keep these conversations a little bit shorter because
we're not that interesting.
We're not as interesting as our guests, and I'm kidding. But I think that, look, the main thing is I would love it if our listeners listen to a full episode of your dad talking or of Kingston talking and just get so much insight from that, reflect on it, come to these episodes like every second week and just go, okay, what do they think about it? Not necessarily you're going to learn off this, but you might be seeing how we're processing it ourselves and you might get a different perspective, you know?
Do you know what idea I'm having right now?
What idea are you having?
Well, I was thinking we sit here and kind of reflect about what we've learned, right? I think we should encourage people who are listening to send in things that they've learned.
Yeah, reach out. That would be a great idea, actually.
There are a few ways that you can do that. You can go to Instagram and you can DM us.
Yeah.
That's easy. You can go to notbadbetter.com. You can scroll to the bottom of the homepage and it says write a message. And you can just put the title in there as the episode and then...
We might move that to the top if we're going to do this.
Nah. It looks good at the bottom the way I've designed it.
Okay. We could have a button in the
Send us
toolbar.
feedback. Yeah, we might do that.
Yeah, maybe do that.
So do that and we'll, at the end of these episodes where we have a chat, when we've got some people that have things that they reflect on, we'll...
Go through it.
Yeah, we'll go through them for the episode. So
That's a
we'll
great
pick a few,
idea.
we'll go through because
we're gonna get hundreds.
Oh, probably
millions.
Gazillions. Is that a measurement of number?
No, but yeah, we will. That's a really good idea.
Or you can just directly email notbadbetter@gmail.
And the other thing.
Yep.
Listener questions. Should we ask about that?
Oh yeah, if you've got questions for guests, so we might start doing that.
We might we're thinking out loud right now as we speak, but
when we have a guest planned.
Have a guest planned, we might alert you of the guest.
Whereas we have a couple of options this week, and we're not going to disclose that yet.
We won't disclose it yet. Beep and beep. Wow, keep that on the podcast.
Yeah, that was good.
We need to, basically what we'll do is release like a little bio on Instagram saying, this is who's joining us next week. Blah, 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 blah.
Exactly those words.
And then we will also put up a listener question. If you watch that thing and you go, oh, this person could be interesting. I just went on their LinkedIn page and they look even more interesting now. And what they do is something that could be insightful. How about I ask a question for that person?
Then do that.
then do it. Send us a question. We'll ask it. How about that? We are for the people,
Yes.
elected by the people.
This is sounding very political.
Oh, they say don't talk about politics, so we should probably leave it there. But yeah,
Politics, money, or religion.
there's going to be a fair bit of editing from 28 minutes onwards on this podcast.
Is there?
No, I'm kidding. But yeah. Okay, so
That's it.
That's it.
That's a wrap.
let's just talk about our weeks quickly, though.
What have you done this week?
I was going to swing it on you, but
This week, back at uni. I'm liking economics for entrepreneurs the most. Got a.
that's not surprising for me. Like
Yeah,
that
it's
you
not
like
surprising for me.
it really suits you.
That's good though because it's some numbers for business building, which is good. Got a good lecturer.
Yep.
Which
helps.
is always helpful.
Someone engagement. Yep.
Works cruisy.
Beautiful.
What's your week involved?
My week has been very cruisy. I've had a lot of days off, which I needed, to be fair.
You did.
Had a deload this week at the gym, so it's been just a respite week, to be honest. Went to uni a few days this week, and I've just started my law degree. Thanks. No, very much loving it. It's really good fun, and I think it's going to be possibly a lot of work, which is what everyone keeps telling me.
Definitely.
But it is also something that I really, really, really enjoy. And I'm actually just loving the fact that I enjoy uni for the minute. It might change. You never know.
It probably will at some point.
At
but
some
then I'll
point.
probably get back to loving it.
Yeah, there'll be dips. There'll be troughs. Yeah. It'll be like a sine equation.
If it's that smooth, yep, that'll be cool.
We'll have to graph it each day. Anyway.
Yeah.
Just quickly, I haven't actually consumed any content this week, which has been one of my biggest downfalls since I've had a lot of days off.
You've consumed Suits.
I've watched a lot of Suits this week. I wonder why.
Conclusion: want to be Harvey Specter.
I don't know. I've been wanting to watch like a Suits like show, and there's nothing like it. I watched this one like called White Collar a while ago while I was doing year 12. It was just great. Like, okay, it's a good show. As in, I watched the whole thing, so it wasn't terrible, but it was pretty bad. And the acting's are even worse. Suits acting's bad enough, but yeah.
Yep, it is.
But yeah, I've been watching Suits, and that's about as much content as I've been consuming, which is a bit shameful, but that's fine.
But honesty.
Yeah.
What have I consumed? The regulars, the Hamish and Andy pod. Those men are so funny. They're so funny. They don't miss. Not overthinking. Tamor got married. So they just did an episode where they talked about what married life is like two tech bros, which they are.
Literally.
Which was pretty funny. Nothing else, nothing meaningful, really.
That's all right.
Nothing
No.
useful.
No, it's good to hear about married life, though. I mean, future.
One day
One day. Well, you've consumed more than I have.
by 2 podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's
look,
it.
but
That's a
look,
wrap.
that's a wrap, I reckon.
That's it.
That's a wrap. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll be here next week with beep.
That was so creative.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi.
Thanks for listening to the podcast this week. We hope you've learned something valuable.
Follow along and connect with us on social media at Not Bad Better.
We'd love it if you could leave a review on Apple Podcasts, either in the app or on their website if you don't have an iPhone.
Have a great week. We'll see you next time.